basically the scaled index addressing mode. Uh, the scale index addressing mode that we were looking last time. So it will be basically to scale up the index that you are looking for. For example, the instruction that we were looking is let me take to that particular instruction. Okay. Like yeah. So, for example, if you have move EAX, EBX plus 4 into ECX, okay? So, as we were seeing the last class, 4 into multiplied by ECX, okay? So, you will get that. So, now the scaling factor that you have, okay? So, that can be either 1, 2, 4, 4, 16, 4, 8, and 16, okay? So, that is the numbers that we are allowed to have. Okay, so as we will see here from the textbook itself, the factors that you are allowed to have is 1x, 2x, 3x, 1x, 2x, 4x, and 8, 4x or 8x, not even 16, only till 8x. Okay, so when you have a scaling factor of 2x, okay, you use word size memories. Okay, when you use 4x, use double word size memories, that is 32-bit. Okay, and a scaling factor will of 8x will basically have a quad word size memories. Okay, so for example, if you have ECX value as 0, then of course it will, if let us say ECX has 001, so that you will be multiplying with 2. For example, you have this instruction move AX comma EDI plus 2 into ECX. Okay, so you multiply 2 to ECX and add it to EDI. Okay, so that will be the offset address that you will be generating. Okay, so now for the instruction, let us say that you have an instruction like this. Okay, move AX, move AX EBX plus 2 into ECX. Okay, so further let us see how you will actually calculate the machine code. Okay, so how you will do is you have to basically get into the instruction set. Okay, and then look at the data movement instructions. Okay, right, so the scaled index that you will be having, okay, you will be basically having that in as this. Okay, just a minute, that relevant table we have to look at. Okay, for two, 1 second. I'm just trying to find the table that you will be having. Okay, fine. I'm not getting that particular table that I was looking for. Okay, fine. I think we'll see it. We'll see it later. The exact calculation in terms of that particular table, I am not able to look at, but we'll look at it in the next class. I'm sorry for that. So, but let's continue with the instruction set and ALP. We will look at the specific example of how you will calculate the machine code for a scaled index addressing mode. We will look at it in the next class. I'm sorry we couldn't do it today. Right. So we were looking at the data movement instructions here. So last class I was telling that the different move options that you have is memory to register is possible, register to memory is possible, register to register is always possible in move instruction. Okay, you can have immediate data moving to the memory location, that's also possible. Okay, another thing which is possible, and we have also seen this, immediate data can also be passed to the register, right? Okay, so these are the different combinations that is possible. So as I was asking, what is the combination which is absent here is memory to memory. You can't move directly from a memory to memory, right? Okay, so what happens in a move instruction is the flags are not affected. Okay, copy is the source to the destination. Source data will remain the same. source data will not be affected. Okay, size of the source and destination must be the same. The source can be a register, memory, or immediate data. Okay, however, the destination can be either register or memory. It cannot be immediate data destination, right? So apart from the data transfer instructions, we have arithmetic instructions, logical instructions, and branch and program control instructions. We will look at them one by one in the coming classes. Okay. So let us look at again a simple program, but before that, let us look at a simple increment instruction. Okay. Now, what does increment instruction do? Increment instruction basically increment, as the name suggests, INC instruction. It will increment the value of the destination. For example, if I have INC BL, okay, it will increment the value of BL by 1. Okay, it will add 1 to BL. Okay, it will add 1 to BL and store it in BL itself. Okay, so it will update the value of BL. Okay, so BL will be equal to BL plus 1. Same with BX. BX is equal to BX plus 1. Okay. Now, with the help of this instruction, what will happen is now the destination can be either memory location or register. Any one is possible. Okay. So there are 24 different ways you can actually specify the destination. Okay, that you have specified here. Now, any of them could be a memory location. You can use either a register indirect mode like BX, or you can use BX plus SI, like for example, this is for the base plus index addressing mode, or like that. Different ways you can do it. Of course, there are some specifications that you have to do when you specify a memory location. We will look at that. Okay. So what happens when we do the increment instruction is, these are the flags which will be affected: the auxiliary flag, the overflow flag, the parity flag, the sign flag, and the zero flag. So all these flags will be affected. What will not be affected is the carry flag. The carry flag will not be affected with the help when you execute the increment instruction. Okay. Similarly, you have another instruction called as a decrement instruction, which will do the different. For example, if you have DEC BL, okay, so in effect, what it will do is BL is equal to BL minus 1. Similarly, if you say DEC BX, okay, so what it will do is BX is equal to BX minus 1. That is what it will do. Okay. So you can, as I said, the destination can be a register or a memory location. However, when you use a memory location, okay, you have to specify the memory location using this directive. This is called as a directive. Okay, this will tell the assembler, the compiler. It will tell whether which is the location, that what is the size of the location that you are trying to do. Okay, for example, okay, you have you want to reduce the you can say, for example, this particular thing. Okay, what mode? When I say BX brackets, what is the addressing mode that I'm trying to do? What is the addressing mode that I'm using? BX brackets, register indirect addressing mode. Okay, it's a register indirect addressing mode, right? So, but when you say increment, if I just say, for example, if my instruction was just increment BX pointer, okay, if I specify this, the compiler will not know, the processor will not know whether you have to reduce or decrement, you have to increment a word location or a byte location or a double word location. That means, let us say that you have a value like okay, you have contents like FF 10H. Okay, let us say that your location 20,000 H is this, 20,000 1h is this. Let us say that. Okay. Now, let us say my bx value is equal to 0000h and ds value is 2000h. Okay. Now, when I say increment bx pointer, so what will happen is, okay, it will understand that, okay, fine. Now ds should be combined with bx. When ds combined with bx, what will be the address that will be generated? That will be 20,000 plus 0000. So that will be 20,000 h. Okay, fine. This is the location that bx is pointing to. But it will not know now if you do not specify anything like byte pointer, word pointer, or double word pointer. It will not know whether I have to just increment the location of 20,000 h, or I have to look at combination of 20,000 h and 20,001 h, or the further locations. Okay, that is 20,002 and 20,003. It will not know what is that it has to look. It has to increment only one location or look at this as a single number and do it. Okay. Now here in this particular example, the answer will vary based on what is the location that you have to increase. If you are just increasing the byte, that's just 20,000 h. If you are incrementing only the byte location, what will be the answer? The answer will be, okay, ff will become, if you increment 1, what it will become? ffh. If you increase 1, what will happen? ff plus 1. It will become 0, 1, 0, and a carry. Okay. So if you increment by word, you increment a byte location, it will become, this will just become 0, 0. Okay. It will just become 0 and the carry will be neglected if only a byte was used. Okay. But if you increment it by word, if you see this whole thing as a single number, that is 10ff plus 1. If you do that, then it will become 0, 0, 1, 1, like this. 1, 1, 0, 0. It will become 1, 1, 0, 0. Right? So whether you want to increase, if you want to, whether you want your location, the memory location is a byte or a word or a double word. Double word means 32-bit value. So that has to be clearly specified in this case. Okay. So you have to specify it clearly. If word is specified, if a byte pointer is mentioned, then the answer, the final contents will be 0, 0, and this will remain unchanged. Okay. But if you actually specify it as word pointer, if you say, then the answer will be this. It will be 0, 0, and then this will become 1, 1. 20,000 h will become 0, 0, and 20,000 20,001 h will become 1, 1. Okay. And if you specify it as double word pointer, then it will actually take this whole thing as this 4 locations. Let us say I have 2, 3, and you have 4, 2 here. Okay. Then it will actually do 4, 2, 2, 3, 1, 0, ff. 1, 0, ff plus 1. Okay. So which will become 4, 2, 2, 3, 1, 1, 0, 0 as a single number. Okay. Here, of course, there was no carryover. Therefore, this particular numbers remain the same. However, if there is a carryover, then it will change. For example, if you had a number like, and we will let us little modify the example. Okay. For example, if you had here, instead of 1, 0, if you let us say you had ff again. Okay. In that case, your answer will be this. For a double word pointer, I'm saying. Okay. For a double word pointer, it will become 4, 2, 3 FF FF plus 1. What it will become? 0 0 0 0 2 4 4 2. I'm adding a 1 to it. Okay. So add 1 to this will become 1, then 1 carry over, then you have a carryover. Okay. So it will become 4 2 2 4 0 0 0 0. Right. So it will change. Okay. So basically point is that you have to clearly specify it is a word pointer or a byte pointer or a double word pointer. Okay. When you specify a register indirect addressing mode.
Excuse me, sir. So, are we taking little endian here?
We are taking little endian, yes.
So why are you taking little endian? Because at 20,000 it should store the
The
MSP, right?
what I told last class, 20,000 H will store the LSB.
Sir, from what we have learned so far, sir, the first byte of the memory location which we are addressing is MSB, and always we are when we
LSB.
are moving the data, we start from the, for example, in this example, we start from 20,003H. We start moving data into that byte first, and then we go to 20,000H, the MSB. I
No, no, no.
think we have this so
No,
far.
no, no. No, no, no. See, point is that in little endian, the least value of the address will always have the LSB. Least value of the address. In this case, least value address means 20,000 H. That will have the LSB. Okay.
Okay, sir.
And further. So that is the point. That is the meaning of little endian. Okay. So if you actually look at it, let me take an example here. Let us take an uh, yeah. I put an insert a slide here. Okay. If you did a move instruction, okay, move, okay. Let us say EAX, okay, followed by say let us say I just put 2000 only or 00H only. Okay. Then what will happen? The This is 20,000 H. Okay. 4223. Let us have the same values. Okay. So as to, okay. If you had FF, okay. If you had this thing, then what you would have done? EX value after the execution of this instruction will be 4223 FF FFH. Right. So same thing I'm doing here also. It's always least address will always have LSB. Right.
All right, sir. All right.
Okay, fine. Let's go ahead. Now, the flags that will be affected will be the auxiliary zero flag, sign flag, the overflow flag, sign flag, then zero flag, parity flag. Now, parity flag will always follow the lower byte. Okay, will always follow the lower byte, and auxiliary carry flag will tell about the bit number 3 to bit number 4. In this case, in the example that I have taken, okay, the example that I have taken here, okay, the what has happened? FF has become 0 in this case. FF has become 0. So in the case of a word pointer, okay, zero flag will become zero. Sorry, if I in the case of a byte pointer, if the answer, if I have taken only the byte pointer, zero flag was 1. Okay, parity flag was 1. Okay, and auxiliary carry flag was 1. Sign flag is 0. Overflow flag is 0. Overflow flag was 0. Why? Because FF has become 0 0. Okay, I'm taking this example of 10FF becoming FF. In the case of a byte pointer, only FF will change. Okay, there's no overflow. There is no sign flag. Sign flag is 0. Zero flag is 1 because it becomes 0. Parity flag will become 1 because even parity, and auxiliary carry flag is 1 because internally if you see 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1, if you add 1 to it, what will happen? 0 plus 1, 0 plus 1, 0 plus 1. Okay, so there's a carry from here to here. Therefore, auxiliary carry flag is 1. Okay, and then there was a carry that was generated, which will be ignored in the case of byte pointer. Okay, because I will, in the case of byte pointer, it will remain the same 1 0 0. This will remain unchanged. Okay, this is the MSB that I'm having. This is the LSB. Because you are saying only byte pointer, only byte will be changed. So FF will become 0 0. This will remain unaffected. Okay, and this will be the result. Had you used word pointer, okay, had you used word pointer, then plus 1 will become 1 1 FF. Sorry, 1 1 0 0. Okay, so that will become 1 1 0 0. Okay, now it will become the overflow. There is no overflow, so 0. Sign flag in this case. Okay, sign flag should be will be 0 because 1 0 FF. This MSB most significant bit. Okay, if you look at it in the binary location, it will be 0 0 0 1 0 0 0 0 and 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1. Okay, most significant bit is 0. So therefore, sign flag will be 0. Zero flag is 0 because the answer after the thing is 1 1 0 0, not 0 0. Okay, it will, you will see it as a word. Okay, so 0 flag is 0. Parity flag, as I've told in the previous class also, that the parity flag will only be relevant with respect to the lower byte only, least significant byte only. Because least significant byte is 0 0, which is even parity, therefore PF is 1. Auxiliary carry flag is 1 because there was a carry generated from bit number 3 to bit number 4. Right? Okay. So this is how actually this thing will work. Right?
Sir, sir,
Yes.
I didn't get why overflow flag is 0 in byte pointer.
Why overflow flow flag is 1 in byte pointer is because what do you mean by an overflow? Tell me.
Sir, is it 1 or is it 0? Overflow flag in byte pointer.
You tell me what is overflow. And then
Overflow,
Hmm.
sir, overflow is generated when we XOR the final carry and pre-final carry. If it comes 0, then overflow is there.
Right. Is it? Okay. Now,
Yes.
in this case, what is happening here? Okay. Now, if you look at this 1 plus 1, 0, you had a carry here. Then you had 1 plus 1 again carry here, and then there is a carry, and you have a carry out also. Okay. Which is coming over here. Okay. Now you tell me, is there an overflow? If you
Uh,
look at the most significant bit, the carry in is 1. The carry out is also 1. If you XOR 1 and 1, what is that? 0. Okay. Carry in into the MSB, most significant bit, is equal to the carry out of the most significant bit in this case, in the byte pointer case. Okay. Because that is equal, therefore, overflow flag is becoming 0. Both are
okay,
equal,
sir.
right? Right.
Yeah, yeah, I got it.
Right. Any other query? Should we go ahead? Right. Okay. Fine. So now this is the increment instruction. Okay. Let's not go into the branch instructions as of now. Let us look at a simple program here. Okay. That is, we are trying to actually transfer a block of data from one memory location to another memory location. Okay. We want to actually transfer from 4 to 000H to 44000H. We want to transfer 50 bytes of data from this particular location to this particular location. Okay. Now, with the help of this instruction, we will try to see some more how you use this particular instruction, increment and move. Okay. And we will also learn some other aspects. Okay. So let us look at that. So what I'm trying to do is I have 50 locations. Okay. 42000. Okay. Now 50 decimal in hexadecimal will be how much? Anybody? 50 decimal in hexadecimal will be how much? Thirty-two in hexadecimal, right? 16 threes are 48 plus 2 is equal to 50, right? So this is 3 and 2, 32H. Okay. Now, therefore, because I will start counting from 42000H. Okay. My last address will be 42031H. This will be the 50th location. Okay. This will be my 50th location. Now I'm transferring these 32 bytes of data into 44000H to 44031H. Okay. So source is 4200 starting and destination is 44000H. Now I can break it into, or if I want to have the DS and the offset, okay, so I can break it as 4000:2000. Okay, I can have this as my data segment and this is my offset. Okay, then it will become 42000H because 4000 multiplied by 10, 4000 multiplied by 10H plus 2000 will become 42000H. Right? Okay. So now how will I do that? What I will do is I will first, as I took an example last class, first I will load into DS. Okay. So I will move 4000H into AX and then move AX into DS. Right? So this will actually set up the data segment to 4000H. Okay. I will put comments in a program by after specifying a colon, semicolon. Semicolon followed by anything will be neglected by the compiler. This is how I give a comment. Colon, then whatever is the comment. Okay. Now what I will do is SI and DI. Okay. I will actually load it with 2000H and 4000H directly. Okay. So which mode I am using? Which is the addressing mode that I am using here in this case? This instruction and this instruction. Which addressing mode am I using?
Immediate
Addressing mode. Okay. Then what I will do is I will capture the word or the number of bytes I want to transfer. I will put it in CX. As you know, 50 locations is 32. Right? Okay. So when you actually put it in the machine code, it will be actually in this way. Okay. Let's not get into that particular thing. Okay, now 1011, this is the immediate mode. Okay, and this is for the okay, we'll not get into the machine code conversion here. Okay, now I have to, what I will be doing is basically I will be incrementing SI and DI for every copy that I will be doing. Okay, I will copy 1 byte of data from SI, the location pointed by SI into the location pointed by DI. Okay, so how will I do that? So move, okay, move BL SI brackets and move BL into DI brackets. Okay, 1 byte of data will be transferred into BL and the same byte of data will now be moved into DI brackets. Okay, SI had 2000H and DI had 4000H. And then what will I do? I have to increment the values of Si and Di. Okay, so I increment Si and increment Di. So now Si is equal to Si plus 1. Di is equal to Di plus 1. That is what will happen by this. Okay. Now, okay, fine. Once I have done this, but what I will do, I have to repeat this, for 50 times. Okay. So then what I will be doing is I will keep Cx as like kind of a index. Okay. It will be like an index for me. Okay, and it will keep the count for me basically, and I will be decrementing the count every time I every time I perform this one copy. Okay, once one byte I copy, I decrement Cx. Okay, like that. Now to repeat this 50 times, okay, what I will be doing is I will be making use of a jump instruction. I will be making use of a jump instruction. Okay, now J and Z. Okay, J and Z. Basically, it will tell jump if not 0. Okay, what does it mean? It says that it will jump to a particular location called Xi. Now, what is X1? X1 is basically what I am doing is basically I am trying to jump to this particular location. Okay, when I want to jump to this particular location, okay, X1 is kind of a label that I will give. This is called as a label that I give. Okay, so it will tell the compiler that you jump to this particular location specified by X1. It will jump to a particular location X1 only if the zero flag, okay, zero flag is 0. Okay, so it will jump to this particular location as long as zero flag is 0. Okay, now zero flag will be affected by the previous decrement instruction. Now when you do, actually what happens here is when you do Cx is equal to Cx minus 1. Okay, now every time you are doing a copy of byte from one location to another location, I am decrementing Cx. I am decrementing Cx. Okay, so first byte I'm transferring from 42,000, that is 2000 H, to 4000 H, incrementing Si, incrementing Di, and then I decrement Cx. Okay, now what will happen is, now when you do a decrement, the flags will, as we have seen previously, the zero flag, carry flag, auxiliary carry flag, etc., all those things will be affected by a decrement instruction. Okay, so every time you do decrement, okay, the zero flag also can be affected. Okay, so when the last time it will do, let us say that it was, for example, 32H. Okay, one decrement it will become 31H. Second decrement it will become 30H. Like that. And last, when it was say 01H, then it will become 00H. When it becomes 00H, that means when you have actually copied 50 bytes, okay, then what will happen is in the last time it will become, the zero flag will be set. Last time, zero flag will be set. In that case, it will not jump to this particular location. It will go to this particular instruction, whatever you have here, some instruction you will have. Okay, so what will happen is it will keep going back and forth. Okay, going back again and again till the zero flag becomes 1. And zero flag will become 1 when Cx becomes 0. And that will happen when all the 50 bytes are transferred. Okay, all the 50 bytes are transferred. Okay, now for this, the equivalent machine code will be this particular thing. Okay, 1001010. Okay, now direction bit was 1. Okay, because it is into a register. W bit is 0 because it is because a byte is transferred, and you have mod the reg and r by m field. Okay, for this. Okay, like this it will become. Okay. Now this is for the move DL, comma SI brackets. This for this instruction it is this. This will be for move DI brackets, comma BL. Okay, this is for the increment SI, increment DI, and decrement CX instruction. Okay, we will not get into converting this into each of this. We have already done enough examples. So this will be the machine code for increment SI, increment DI, and increment. This is for increment SI, and this will be for increment DI, and this will be for decrement CX. This will be the machine code. Have you found the machine code for this? Please look at the appendix. I think I think appendix C. I think of Barry Bray. Okay, let me just confirm. It will be in the appendix. Okay, so this will be appendix B. Okay, it will be in appendix B of Barry Bray. You will be seeing there. You can actually see all the opcode and the instruction format of all the instructions. So look at the appendix B of Barry Bray to form the machine code of this. Okay, we will not get into that. What is of interest here for us is this JNZ X1. When you have JNZ X1, okay, if you go to the machine code, this particular thing I would like to emphasize here. Okay, when you look for JNZ X1, JKL, okay, JNZ, okay, yeah. So for JNZ, okay, the condition will be this. Okay, the template for that is 0111 followed by CCCC. Okay, now CCCC will be based on this. Okay, for J and Z it will be 0101. Okay, so 0111 0101 0111 0101. Okay, so you have that followed by a displacement. Okay, now displacement basically will tell, okay, with respect to this particular instruction. Let me take a different ink here. Okay, and erase these things. Okay, with respect to this particular instruction, how much displacement I have to do to do the jump. Okay, how many jumps, what should be the increment or decrement in the instruction pointer to go to the jump location. Now the jump location is here. The jump location is here. I have to jump from here to here. Okay. Now, with respect to this particular location, I have to jump. Let us say you have to calculate here. Now, this is 2 bytes. Okay, this is how many bytes? What is the size of the instruction? This is 2 bytes. This is 2 bytes. This is 2 bytes. No, sorry, this is 1 byte. This is also 1 byte. Okay, and this is also 1 byte. The length of the instruction I'm talking about. Okay, and so I have to jump how much? 1, 2, 3, 3 plus 2, 5, 5 plus 2, 7. I have to go 7 bytes backward. Okay, I have to go 7 bytes backward. So the displacement will be -7. I have to go 7 bytes backward. Therefore, the displacement should be -7 with respect to this particular instruction. Okay, so I have to jump 7 bytes backward. So the displacement will capture basically the information about how much, what should be the jump, how with respect to this particular thing, what should be my jump location. Okay, how much I should add or subtract to this particular location's address so that I can get the target location. Okay, from this is the target to it. Okay, this is the target. So from there, how much I have to jump, that will be specified by the displacement, right? Okay, so that will actually have the displacement value. Okay. So if you actually put it here, now this will be this is 8e 8, and this will 1 second please, 8. Okay, this is little different. Okay, let's not get into this thing. Basically, displacement is what you will have. Will tell what will be the target location that you want to have. Okay. Now there are
So,
other, yes.
so can we jump forward also? Like, can we
Yes,
skip a block of statements?
yes. As I said, the displacement can be either positive or negative. The displacement can be positive or negative, both possible.
Okay, sir.
Right?
Thank you.
Right. Okay. So in this case, if you actually put it in machine code, okay, this will be 8. This will be 8A, and 1. What will be this? 1100. 1100 will be how much? 8 plus 4, 12. 12 is A, B, C. Okay. Okay, we can actually look at the displacement, how you will be actually specifying. We can put it in the machine code and the compiler, and you can actually look at it. How displacement, basically this is the concept that you will be using for displacement calculation, right? So we will start with the arithmetic instructions in the next class. Okay, we'll start with the arithmetic instructions in the next class. Okay, any query?
Sir, I
So,
had a small doubt. Sir,
Yes.
like you said that when J and Z performs its action when the ZF turns 1.
Yes.
So, if such a case arises that ZF is turning 1 due to some other reason, then CX being 0.
No, there is no reason. That is a reason, no? That's why we will keep J and Z exactly after decrement instruction. Okay?
Okay.
So that the whatever happens in decrement instruction, that will only affect the 0 flag, not any other flag.
Right,
Okay?
right.
Therefore, J and Z will be immediately after decrement instruction that you are interested in.
Okay, okay.
Okay?
Sir,
Yes.
sir, in this case, we are decrementing CX. So, do we have to also initialize CX to 32H initially?
Yes. Yes, we have done it here, right?
Okay. Yeah, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
sir, in the slide for increment operation, you said that CF is not affected.
Yes.
So, but suppose AX is all F, and then I do increment AX, then there will be a carry generated, no?
Yes, it will be generated, but that will not affect the carry flag.
Okay, sir. So basically, the carry flag is not linked to the increment operation, something like that.
Yeah, carry flag is not linked to the increment operation. Therefore, you should not have anything like JNC. There is also an instruction called JNC. Okay, you should not have jump if not carry. You should not have an instruction like JNC after the increment or decrement instruction.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Right. Right. Any other query?
So could you move to the flag slide where
Excuse me,
you
sir.
showed the values of different
Yeah.
flags for the exam? No, sir,
Flag
previous.
slide. Okay. Here.
So it was after this where it showed the values of the different flags.
Okay. Right. Yeah.
So here, what were you trying to explain by the 0001, 0000, 1111?
This one here.
So below it.
I'm just actually expanding it. I'm just expanding 10FF into binary. Okay. Here I'm showing actually that the MSB most significant bit is 0. Therefore, sign flag is 0.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, when you were coding this move of 50 data, one part started with x1 and then you wrote some code and then finally you wrote the j and z x1, right? Yeah.
Yes. Okay. You the machine code you are saying.
Yes, sir. So
Mhm.
no, sir. The assembly code only. I tried doing it on DOS, but it's not letting me put that x1 colon.
In DOS, it will see for that.
Error when I try to put x1 colon.
Yeah.
Is there another?
See, so the point is that the code that I have specified, that is label and all those things, this you can do only in a program, and then you will compile it in the program. You can't directly put it in the debug. You can't directly put labels in debug.
Oh.
So to do that, you have to first write a program, compile it, and then when the compiler it will do is it will replace x1 with a displacement. Okay, so what will happen here is, like for example, if you look at this is what 8a 1c. Okay, so 8a 1c. Then the next instruction is 881d. Okay, then this is 46 4 6 46 4 7. Okay, then 4 9. Then this is what 7 7 5. Yeah, 7 5, and then displacement. Okay, so this will be the value that you will be having. So it will actually have this particular value here. Okay, the displacement will actually be here. Okay, so the displacement will specify here. Okay, so how do you calculate the displacement exactly with this particular example? I will see tomorrow in the next class how you will get the value of the displacement exactly. So you will be seeing here. Okay, so what will happen is the compiler, when in the program you can write all these labels and all those things. The assembler, what it will do is after assembling, what it will do is it will convert into machine codes. It will put the value of displacement directly here. Those labels and all those things, it will remove it.
Thank you.
Labels cannot be understood by the debug. Right?
Sir, can you re-explain how you calculated the displacement in the previous slide?
Right. So what we will be doing is, you will actually basically with respect to this particular thing. Okay. Now, what is the size of this instruction? What is the size of this particular instruction? This instruction is 2 bytes long.
Yes, sir.
First byte, second byte. This will be 2 bytes again. This will be 1 byte. 1 byte. Let me take a laser. Which will actually, yeah. This is 2 bytes.
Yes, sir.
This is 2 bytes. This is 1 byte. 1 byte. And 1 byte. So, with respect to this instruction starting location, I reduce 1 byte, it will go here. Okay, 1 more byte, it will go here. Third, -2, it will go here. -2, it will go here.
Okay, sir. So that means I have to go back 7 bytes of location where the
7 bytes
instructions are
starting from
stored.
this particular location. But actually, how
Yes,
do you
sir.
calculate the displacement? I will tell you in the next class.
All right, sir.
Right?
Thank you.
How you actually do it in the program and all those things, I will tell you in the next class. Yeah.
All right, sir. Thank you, sir.
Right. Okay, fine. If there are no more queries, let us end the class here. Any other queries?
So when would you upload the slides?
Slides. Okay, actually, my our understanding with the IC was that the IC was supposed to put it, but he was actually sick. So I will talk to him today. Okay, so talk to him and I'll get back to you. Right?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Okay,
Me, sir?
fine.